Hello guys, welcome back to the crew Wildrun. Driving all cars, part number 31. The Chevrolet Corvette C6 in the most powerful version, the ZR1. That's what we are looking at here. 647 PS or 630 brake horsepower, that is. 6.2 V8 supercharged, if I'm not mistaken. It comes with a performance or a sports spec. If you put this client in a different language, then sometimes it's called sport. Perfect, so performance and also a circuit spec. So it has two specs next to the full stock. Kinda all pretty standard here, as always, using official colors and rims. The interior, nothing wrong with the dials here, so it's not ruined with the latest tunnel patch. And seeing these are red dials, on white numbers you can see it pretty decent. For those who haven't watched the previous videos, the tunnel patch is some patch maintenance they did, resulting in the fact that if you go through a tunnel, the dashboard lighting goes on, and if you go out of the tunnel, it goes out again. And that's a cool feature, but the problem with that is that if you drive around in daylight, when it's daylight in free drive or in free roam, some of the cars you cannot see the gauges, or how it's called. You can't see the dials and the numbers anymore, which is a bit of a problem, especially if for those who drive with a cockpit view. The performance spec, a bit more sportive or aggressive look, whatever you want to call it. Some carbon spoiler there, front spoiler. Kept the wing pretty small, in the same color as the car, so hardly noticeable that it is a wing. 4 exhaust pipes, some shining rims, although they are original or official as well. If there are enough different rims and enough different colors, then I use official colors and rims. The circuit spec, which kinda, as many cars in this game, for the circuit specs, they sorta come with a body kit, and there's not that much you can change about it. You can change the rims, you can change the color, and some of them maybe the wing, but that's not the case in this one, I think. So a big wing at the back, carbon diffuser, if I'm not mistaken. And a 5-spoke wheels or rims. — 630 brake horsepower or PS 647 or something. It is a bit tricky. I'm not talking about the car, but I'm talking about those numbers. There is something called horsepower or PS, which is German short, and it's German for Pferdestärke. If you translate that into another language, it comes down to horsepower. Pferd is a horse, and Stärke is power. So horsepower, PS. But there is also something called brake horsepower, and it's kind of measured a bit differently. The normal horsepower or PS is sort of measured with the real power of the car, acceleration wise and so on. And brake horsepower is, as the word suggests, it's measured with the power put on the brakes to make it stop or to come to a standstill. And though those numbers differ a bit, it has to do, let's say, with the kilowatt, which is the real power of the car, or at least that's the easiest way. It will be the same for both, let's say, I believe this one is 476 kilowatts. And that means it is 638 brake horsepower, 647 PS. The reason for that is it's a little different formula to measure that, or to count it, to do the maths on that. And it comes down that 1 kilowatt is 1.34 brake horsepower, and 1 kilowatt is 1.36 PS. So if the power is low numbers, there's not much different. So a 100 kilowatts car has 136 PS, but it only has 134 brake horsepower. It's only two difference. Of course, if the numbers are bigger, like in this case, with 638 brake horsepower, then it's 647. That's almost a difference of 10. But yeah. And some of the times those numbers are well, used wrongly. For instance, in this game the Abarth has 135 brake horsepower. That's not really correct. It has 133 brake horsepower. It has 135 PS. But those numbers are often switched. Also in auto show programs or stuff like that. Meanwhile, we are testing the performance spec of the ZR1 in the acceleration test. Suffers a bit from wheel spin, and that's usually not good for our 1 mile drag. That's what we are doing here, that I've done with all the cars. 24502. That is the performance, and let's have a look. The fastest here is 22.8, the slowest is 25.2. So with 24.5, you could say it is below average in acceleration. I have a lot of 23 cars, a lot of 24 second cars, so and it's for 24 and a half, so yeah. Average on acceleration, and that's mainly to do with the wheel spin, which even is a bit worse in circuit spec. That's what we have taken out now. Same test, 1 mile drag, hit a nitro bar at the first checkpoint, which is a quarter mile. That's how I do these acceleration tests. Done it with all the cars in the previous videos and in the upcoming videos. For those who wonder how many parts are going to be here, well, this is part number 31, and there are 83 parts coming in total. At least I hope to do that by the end of the month, and then in September and in November there will be part 84 and 85 with the two upcoming bikes, the Kawasaki Z1000 and the Ducati Panigale. Meanwhile, 23.7 for the circuit spec. That is well, also again average. I have one 24 second car, I have a couple of 22s, and most of them are 23.2, 23.3, 23.4. This is 23.7. So also here somewhere in the middle of the pack that we have tested so far, and I'm expecting faster cars to come soon. The well-known better cars, or best to use in circuit spec, they are still have to come. So this is not that good, but it's not that bad that it's going to be a minus on the. I always do a few minus and plus points of a certain car. The minus is not really the acceleration. The minus is the wheel spin, and because of the wheel spin, you're not really getting a good acceleration. So it's kind of the same. So minus wheel spin, it slides all over the place, but well, in a correctable way. It's pretty easy to correct. So I call that a fun factor. So you can have some fun with this thing in free drive or in free roam. First corner was kind of okay, but later on it will turn that the brakes are not that good, which is a bit of a shame, especially for the circuit spec. And well, no idea why I ended up there. Probably because I suck at driving, at least according to some. But that's how it goes. I'm just testing cars on handling here. I had a free drive challenge for this same route. That's why I always take the same route here with all the cars. But I'm just doing it in free drive lately, because, well, if you do a lot of free drives behind each other, one next to another, sometimes you get stuck. But here you often see the wheel spin. Smoke coming from the tires, tire marks on the road, and yeah. That is wheel spin, and that is slowing you down, compared to competition which do not have that. The handling on itself, well, a bit of understeer here. Maybe I went a bit too fast in that corner, but with some corners you can really dive in there. And then you have to start again, try to get some speed, and then you get the smoke from the tires. So, wheel spin all the way. But it is a bit unfortunate, because like you can see, it's not that bad on handling. slides a bit about, but you can correct it pretty easily every time, and so you can keep going. This is a performance spec, so we should get around 400 kilometers an hour here at the downhill. After the jump I hit the nitro again, and then we'll see. 359, 396, something like that. Yeah, not that bad, but I don't know. Probably on a long straight you will reach the 400 or even over it, but the wheel spin is a bit killing this car. Yeah, and this one, that has something to do with that fence. It's a little bugged, I think. Some of the cars just fly way high here. Or maybe it's a bit, well, although it's not that light, but yeah, you can slide about with it, have some fun with it, but that's the fun factor if you are around free drive, free roam. But if you have to go for a summit event, time attacks, it's a bit of a problem. If you slide all over the place, you lose seconds. If everybody have to use the same car, then it's kinda okay. Then we're all dealing with the same. But if you can use all your performance specs, then you might have a bit of a problem with this one. Seeing the wheel spin not going anywhere coming out of a corner, and the other cars that don't have that take off. So you lose half a second there, and the next corner half a second, and at the end of the ride you have lost 3, 4, 5 seconds compared to the competition. So performance spec, not that good. The circuit spec on the other hand is, well, it's really suffering from the wheel spin, because if it wouldn't have that, then it probably would be one of the better circuit specs. The acceleration is not huge. I mean, there are cars doing a second faster on the mile drag, but there are also cars doing slower times. So it's somewhere in the middle acceleration wise, and that's also because of the speed thing with the wheel spinning, and well, then you can't gain speed, can you? Which also means you lose time on an acceleration test. But as you can see here, the brakes are a bit of an issue. I have the brakes as a minus for this car. In the performance spec it is kinda okay, but in this one, yeah, you see, come outside of the corner because the brakes are not good enough. The handling on itself is not that bad, just a bit of a problem with the wheel spin. But as you will see in the downhill a bit further, it has the speed to go along with the better circuit specs. So it's probably a pretty good car to use. I don't know what the top speed is with a slipstream or with a draft. I only done about 65 kilometers in this thing. Probably in PvP or something, where Summit PvP, where we had to use this one. It is a bit stiff, but it's not like you're ending up on the rocks in these corners like that. If you sort of brake a bit in advance before the corner, it pretty smoothly takes those corners. Give or take a little slide here or there, but those are easy to correct, as I mentioned in the performance spec. It's the same for this one. It has a decent NOS or nitro, so yeah. With the body kit, jumps usually are pretty good. If they are not too big, then you might get some two-wheel action, but it's kind of okay with this one. Meanwhile, we are going towards 420 kilometers an hour, and that's not that bad. Then it can even be considered good. A bit of problem there with the brakes again, but eventually made the corner. Has a decent response, so you can easily avoid cars or dodge traffic, as I call that, and yeah. It's not that bad, just the wheel spin is a bit of a problem, especially at lower speeds, lower gears. But also this one you can slide about, have some fun with. But this one has the top speed. Performance spec has not bad in speed wise, but yeah, there are better performance specs. This one is, it can keep up. I'm pretty sure it can keep up with some of the better circuit specs, especially on ovals or something. I don't know if it's gonna reach 450 kilometers an hour like Celine or Gallardo can do. They can do 455, 457. I don't know if that's going to be possible with this one. but it has a pretty good top speed. The handling, it's not that bad, it's just a bit suffering from the wheel spin as well, and the brakes are not that good. So a plus the fun factor, a minus the wheel spin and the brakes, and the best use, I would say the circuit spec, because it has a bit better top speed, can keep up with the rest, which is not really the case in performance spec. That was it for part number 31, which also means we have covered the 4 different Corvettes. 4 different Corvettes, the C2 for me it's the best. It's even the best American for me in this game. But it's definitely the best Corvette. I'll see you guys in the next one, and bye for now.